Hello everyone, this is Robert, and as you can see, I have a Creality K1 Max. For some reason, ever since this printer was announced, I've wanted one. I'm not really sure why. So when it came up on a Black Friday sale, I ended up purchasing it. It was like $720, which is a crazy good deal for this thing. And yeah, this is not sponsored in any way. And that's why I'm not saying that this is a review, because it's not a product review. Sometimes as a YouTuber, it's really nice to get something and not do the unboxing and not do the review and not go through, the contract with the vendor. So I don't know, I'm doing something different. If this isn't a product review, what is it? I don't know, maybe it's a comparison. Maybe it's just me trying to figure out which printer I want to end up keeping, because I'm gonna probably decide between the X1C and the K1 Max. I'm not sure. Maybe this is just me wanting to play with my new camera. I don't know. But yeah, enjoy the video, watch the Benchy being made, and I'll be talking about a whole lot of stuff during this video. I think I should start this video with what exactly we're looking at. So on the left-hand side, we've got the Creality K1 Max, and on the right, we've got the Bambu X1C. These were obviously filmed separately. I'm not filming them side by side. They use the same filament, and they're both printing the pre-sliced Benchy that comes with the machine. And let's just get into that. Pre-sliced Benchys. If you go on either one of these machines and open up the slicer, load in the Benchy, select a profile and hit slice, it's like 40 to 50 minutes, like I think 43 or 48 minutes respectively, something like that. The pre-sliced ones are like in this 20-minute range. You can obviously look at how long this video is and see that it's not 48 minutes long. So what's the deal with these pre-sliced Benchys? Well, it's a marketing tool. For both of these machines, they're putting this pre-sliced file on there to be like, oh, this is going to be your expectations. This is going to be as fast as every print is going to be, and that is just not the case. It is as fast as the machine can possibly go, and you'll see in some places here, I'll kind of discuss it, but with the Bambu, it's like kind of maybe a little bit too fast in some places. But anyway, I'm just kind of doing this as a comparison and quite frankly, just to give something to look at during all my ramblings for whatever, the next 19 minutes or so. And I don't know, it's kind of like one of those things that's nice to sit back and watch something being made. It's kind of cool to look at this stuff in real time. 5 or 10 years ago, watching a Benchy being made would just be horrible because, it'd be an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes. But the fact that there's 2 printers out there that you can sit down, plug in, put in the SD card and just hit go on a Benchy and actually get a reasonable Benchy, we're living in some pretty cool times. But what you're seeing here is just the pre-sliced Benchys that come on each respective machine. So the Bambu has its own, the Creality has its own, and that's exactly what you're seeing. I'm using the same filament. I think it's this yellow filamentum filament. It's a decent filament, but it is a bit older. It's not one of these new fancy high-speed filaments, but apples to apples, they are printing the exact same filament. As a YouTuber and content creator, there's certain things that are kind of more important to me that wouldn't normally be important to the average user. Visibility is actually one thing that's always been kind of a gripe with me on the Bambu. And if you look at the video, just watch the video, the Creality looks beautiful on the left, and I'm just not super happy with the video on the right for the Bambu. And it's because the Bambu is very, very dark inside. I'm filming these out in the shop where I have a ton of light pouring in, but because it has the closed sides, a relatively small opening on the top, a large bezel on the top of the machine, it's really hard to kind of get a good camera angle to show inside the machine. You can't really come at it from the top down because the top bezel gets in the way, so you kind of have to come at it from the bottom viewing up. And that becomes a problem because, as you see here, the bed's kind of in the way. So once we kind of start to get around 5 minutes or so, the bed's going to be low enough so we can actually see inside. I know this has nothing to do with the quality of the 3D printer, the quality of the print, none of that. But the Creality is actually a lot easier to film because it has a much smaller frame all the way around it and a lot more glass. It's just kind of more open printer and it's a lot brighter inside. So it actually makes filming a lot easier. I know for most people that won't matter, but that's one of the things I'm looking at as a content creator is it's going to be a lot easier for me to film the Creality than it will the Bambu. So why did I buy the Creality K1 Max? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, I have a little bit of a soft spot for Creality, and secondly, I kind of want something that is a larger format than the X1C. Now that I have my Prusa XL, I'm designing a lot larger pieces that just really can't go on the X1C. So I wanted something a little bit larger format. I obviously could have waited for Bambu to come out with a larger format, but that really doesn't seem to be their focus right now. So I wanted something that will complement the Prusa XL, and I also kind of want like a real high-speed workhorse type machine. And I know that Bambu is definitely that, but there's kind of a lot of modding and hot rodding that's being done on the K1s, adding in larger extruders, and kind of borrowing a lot of that stuff from the Voron crowd. I've wanted to build a Voron over and over for years, but it's just not a project that I want to do. I don't want to make the 3D printer the project. The amount of time it takes and tuning and tweaking, that's not my thing. I got a lot of other tools, a lot of other projects going on, so I've always kind of, added the Voron to the cart and then decided against it. So I think the K1 will kind of give me that little bit of an itch. There's a lot of high performance extruder mods. There's a lot of things that you can kind of do with it I think the printer itself is just more geared towards that. Whereas something like the Bambu, I don't really want to necessarily take off the side panels and throw a CPAP cooler in the top and things like that. It just kind of doesn't really warrant that. But I think with the K1, I might maybe go down that path because it just seems like it's more made for stuff like that. So why do I have a soft spot for Creality? Well, my 3D printer journey is kind of weird, and we got what, 10, 12 minutes left, so we can talk about this. But I started out with a Lulzbot printer way back. I was back at SparkFun at the time, and I did like an unboxing of one of those, and I ended up getting a Lulzbot printer, and that was kind of my first personal printer that I had. And quite frankly, I hated that thing. That thing was just hot garbage. It was maybe still in the early days of 3D printers, but I just couldn't get anything to work. And 3D printing was kind of not in my tool set at that time. I just kind of ignored it and only used it when I absolutely had to. I would prototype things that I was going to machine, and that was about it. I never used any parts from it. So I did that for a while, and then Creality actually reached out to me, and they gave me a CR10 for review. And the CR10 was kind of a new experience because I loaded it up, got the Benchy, printed it out, and everything worked, and it looked really good. And then I started using it more and more, and I really liked that CR10. I ended up selling my Lulzbot, and I think Formbot reached out to me. I ended up getting a Formbot, I think that was the name of it, but I ended up getting one of those, kept the CR10 kind of as a backup, and then I went down and got a Prusa Mark III, and then, the rest is history. Once I got the Mark III, the reliability, the consistency, that was really what kind of took me to the next level, to where I was like, oh wow, I can reliably print stuff. It turns out great every time. And that's kind of what, shifted me into where I'm at now. But the CR10 kind of showed me that budget printers can really give you producible, good results. And so the CR10 kind of always had a special place in my heart. And because of that, I've always kind of liked Creality. There is another reason for me wanting to get a K1 Max, and it's admittedly a bit strange, but hear me out. As a content creator and a YouTuber that occasionally does 3D printing content, I want to kind of keep up to date with what's going on. I follow a lot of the popular YouTube channels, I watch all their product reviews, things like that. And with the K1 Max specifically, I just saw this massive discrepancy between people that loved it and people that absolutely hated it. You could literally watch a review within a week of one person that said, oh my God, this is the Bambu killer, this is the best printer on the market right now. And then that same week from some other channel, you could see someone that this thing is just all flaws, it's terrible, I'm sending it back, no one should buy this until it's ready and all the kinks are worked out. And there really was no one in the middle, and I never really got a good sense who was, who had the right impression or what the common impression was, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I wanted to buy one just so I could see, is this thing really truly the next generation of printer? Or is this, you know, kind of not really half-baked and just an attempt to clone something, but they kind of missed the mark? So I know that sounds a little bit strange, but never underestimate my level of curiosity. It's one of the reasons why I end up getting the Bambu, because I heard so many people talking about it, and granted they reached out to me, but yeah, I accepted that because I just wanted to see, is it worth all the hype? And I think the Creality is very similar like that, to where there's a lot of people kind of hyping it up, saying it's really, really good, but then there's a lot of people on the opposite end of the spectrum. So I'm just kind of curious. I just want to see which one this is. I know in the beginning of the video I said that this really wasn't meant to be a comparison, but let's go ahead and break that rule and do a little bit of comparison right now. Both of these machines are doing pre-sliced Benchys, so they're both cheating a little bit. Neither of these machines could you load in a Benchy, select a predefined profile and print them like this. This is highly optimized just for the sake of printing a very fast Benchy. However, the Creality definitely is going a bit faster here. The other thing that I will make note of, we'll talk about the actual quality. I'll show a quick comparison between the finished products at the end. But one thing that I noticed while filming and editing this video is the Bambu just kind of sounds like it's struggling a little bit. Maybe it's the smaller printer, I don't know. But if we kind of take a listen to the Creality versus the Bambu, with the Creality, the only thing I can really hear is fan noise. And in person, this was the case too. It has a very loud fan. The thing is fairly loud overall, especially for these high-speed prints. But the Bambu really seems like if I increased it 5% more, it would just explode. The Bambu definitely seems a bit rougher and like it's really, really pushing itself, which I found interesting. This is all just interesting stuff. No conclusions here, no comparisons, but I filmed both of these, so I think it's worth pointing out. So let's go ahead and listen to both the Creality and the Bambu and just kind of give you an idea what they sound like when they're doing these ultra high-speed Benchys. I thought the difference in sound between these two was kind of interesting. I think overall the Creality is louder, which I'm not thrilled about because I'm probably going to have this in my office. But whenever you're doing these high-speed PLA prints, all these machines are going to be really loud because you need to cool down the filament. With the Creality, it's mostly a fan noise. It's a very, very loud and constant fan noise. Thankfully, it's not really a high-pitched whining or anything. It's a relatively pleasant noise, but it is just kind of a very loud, constant fan noise. With the Bambu, it just kind of sounds more frantic. There's a lot more extruder sounds, a lot more movement sounds, and there's a lot more sounds, and the fan doesn't really just drown everything out, kind of like the Creality does. And it's really weird. Maybe this is just the nature of filming the video. I think the Bambu is a little bit tighter in on the shot, and the Creality is a little bit wider angle. But it looks like the Bambu is just moving so much faster. There's kind of this frantic nature from the Bambu when you listen to it and you watch it. It just seems like it's going really, really, really fast. But with the Creality, it seems a little bit more laid back and a little bit more calm, which is kind of interesting because the Creality is actually technically printing a lot faster. There is no one perfect printer out there. Much the same way that everyone doesn't drive the exact same car on the roads, there's a ton of different vehicles because people have preferences and people have different needs. Some people might want a pickup truck, some people might have a sports car. You know, try using a sports car and go to Costco. It's a pain in the butt. That's why SUVs exist. That's why minivans exist. There's a lot of different preferences out there. For me, I just want a printer that I can quickly prototype in PLA and occasionally do some materials that require an enclosure. Eventually there's going to be an enclosure for the Prusa XL, and I might build one of the two, but eventually that will be enclosed, so that will be solved. But for right now, I just want something that's slightly larger format than the typical 200, 250 cubic millimeter. I want something a little bit bigger, and I want something that can print high speed. That's pretty much all I'm looking for. All the little extra gimmies are just exactly that. They're just kind of extras. I do like that the K1 can be kind of opened up. You can root it, you can get full access to clipper, mainsail, all that good stuff. I do like that. I want to maybe play around with that a little bit, but for my needs, I'm just looking for something that's high speed PLA. That's pretty much it. And I think this might serve that purpose. The Bambu products are all fantastic. The X1C has been a real eye-opening printer for me. It was that printer that showed me that I can run prototypes really, really quickly. I didn't have to print everything at night, wait overnight, get them the next day. I could actually do some rapid prototypes right then and there, get them same day, and it wouldn't slow down my project that I was working on. And I was very thankful of that. I didn't think I wanted high speed before I ended up getting the Bambu. Once I got the Bambu, I realized high speed is the way to go. And I rarely used my Mark III after I got the Bambu, just because it was so much faster on so many prints. So the XL is not a high-speed printer. I've said that many times. It's a relatively slow printer for what modern printers are today, and it's very slow for a Core XY. So I want something high-speed to complement that, because it can do everything. It can do everything reliably, but I need something high-speed. So everyone's going to be a little bit different, and that's why I don't want this video to be a comparison, because they're very different printers. And depending on your purpose and depending on what you're doing, one or the other might be the better option for you. But as I said earlier, I just wanted to see if the K1 Max was really this decent printer that some people think it is, and so far I'm actually pretty pleased with the results of it. So let's just go ahead and let this video finish, and when both of the Benchys are done, I'll come back and we'll take a closer look at them, and then that'll be that. So here we have the two finished Benchys. We have the Creality on the left and the Bambu on the right. They're both flawed, but in different ways. I think with the Bambu, it's a little bit more matte, which shows that there is a little bit less heat going into each layer, which could be a problem for structure. There's some minor artifacting over the entirety of the model. There's some gaps in the filament showing that the walls didn't fully meet, maybe a little bit of under extrusion. You have a very prominent bow line being shown. But on the case of the Creality, the overall finish just isn't as nice, but there doesn't really seem to be any under extrusion like there is on the Bambu, and we get a little bit more of a shiny finish. So there's pros and cons to each. I think they're roughly about equal. The Creality is about 1 gram to 1.5 grams heavier, which shows that it probably has a little bit more structure, had a little bit more walls. The Bambu is a little bit lighter. They probably tuned it for a little bit less filament. Who knows? These are pre-sliced Benchys. We can't really draw too many conclusions from them other than the fact that both of these machines are capable of printing a sub 20-minute Benchy of reasonable quality. 5 or 10 years ago, this was something that might not have even been possible, and this quality would have been perfectly acceptable for a, sub 2-hour Benchy. So something to keep in mind. That's all I've got for this video. Thanks for sticking with me through it. It was actually kind of fun to edit and actually do the, long filming, but yeah, it's kind of fun. Be on the lookout for more videos coming up. I may or may not do more with the Creality K1. We're just going to see how I end up using it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.